Political parties are giving reaction to the latest crime statistics there. So let's just take the discussion further now. Police Minister Bheki Cele, in releasing the national crime statistics earlier today, said that schools, universities, colleges and daycare facilities have become hotbeds of sexual violence, and the increase in the number of murders is a cause for concern. On sexual offences, the minister said that it was a scourge that left communities across the country gripped by fear. Let us now speak to Ngaa Murombedzi. She is Advocacy Manager at Women and Men Against Child Abuse. Good afternoon to you. Always good to have you on the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Palesa.
All right, so let's just get your reaction to the crime stats, specifically focusing perhaps on domestic violence or gender-based violence, and also touching on what the minister said earlier, that it looks like education institutions are becoming hotbeds of sexual violence.
In general, it's very concerning, and in particular, I want to respond to one of the, I think it's Freedom Front Plus, that when we do look at an increase in sexual offences, however, a decrease in violence against women and children, it is kind of misleading. One thing that I did note from what the minister said is there is no specific time frame. We have gone through a period where schools have been impacted, which tertiary institutions, what is the geographical breakdown of these stats? Because in his stats, he did emphasize that KZN has an increase. But overall, in general, the statistics that have been brought out don't show the domestic violence impact. They are reliant only on reported cases. And Palesa, it is a known fact that victims of domestic violence, women and children, do not come forward because of the stigma, because of the reception of assistance that they get at the police stations. So we would like for these statistics to have shown what kind of institutions is this happening, what is the perpetrator profile. If we say 380 cases, what is the time frame? Was this in a week? Was it in the 6 months of an audit and things like that?
So are you basically saying that the numbers may be higher than what has been reported for the fact that some gender-based violence cases go unreported?
Absolutely. Indeed, it is a proven fact that victims do not come forward. When it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to sexual offences, cases are withdrawn. Are these numbers that the minister has given us, are these reported cases? Are these finalized cases? Are these ongoing cases? That breakdown makes a significant impact. When it comes to education facilities, are these children in daycare facilities being sexually violated by educators, by who? What is happening in that, so that we have a full picture of, are these cases that are ongoing, are these cases that we're waiting to see, are they withdrawn, so that we have an understanding of how big is the scourge of violence on women and children in education facilities or in whatever context that women and children find themselves being violated in.
If we're talking about 308 rape cases reported at institutions of learning, from your normal schools to institutions of higher learning, what exactly is happening? This is quite worrying. But again, many may believe that what happens at schools, it's just a reflection of what is happening within our communities.
Absolutely true. It's concerning. One case at a school is more than enough. 380 is an absolute outrage. What is happening at schools? Is it a lack of what we term sexual education and sexual knowledge on the part of the child? What are the educators doing? We also find that the pattern of perpetrators in schools, it is not necessarily the educator, but it might be noted at school and then reported. So it is a student who has experienced sexual violence, perhaps in an outside context, but in general, this shows that there is a breakdown in the sexual understanding and the sexual relations and the sexual education within our communities. If children are being violated at school, what is happening at the homes? What is happening with strangers in the streets? And that is going to show us, which is why I said that what the minister has told us cannot be a reflection of what exactly is happening on the ground. The numbers will be higher. At schools, there is a mandatory obligation to report sexual offences, and that is as per the Sexual Offences Act. Everybody must report it, but at schools, there is that mandatory reporting that communities tend to overlook. So these numbers are not, in our opinion, reflective of what is happening.
So we had the minister touching on awareness campaigns on gender-based violence and femicide, saying that they have to be intensified. And I think the question really is, what has not been done in terms of intensifying awareness campaigns on gender-based violence?
I agree with you. What has not been done? We have got forums where discussions are being had on how to deal with violence in general, how to deal with South Africa's high crime statistics. What has not been done? What we say as an organization is we have to have programs, we have to have approaches where the end user is involved, because the expert of what is going on in communities is the person that has gone through it. As civil society, we are conduits to facilitate that we address the grassroots issues. However, we can see that our government is inundated with a lot of other things, that they are not taking these cases very seriously. A program that is a top-down approach is not going to do anything. We have 1,000 plus of those, and we can safely say they are not effective. They are either overlooking certain communities, they are not addressing certain issues, they are based on assumptions, they are not coming together, and they have been done. Every year we have got days dedicated to addressing this. We have got Child Protection Week. We have got Women's Month, where every single day in August, women are going forward to say, protect us. It is not time for a forum to sit and discuss. We urge government to do something tangible, to do something that communities can reap the rewards. It is not something on paper, Palesa. We can no longer do things on paper. We need our communities to have tangible approaches to addressing gender-based violence.
All right, so the crime stats will be released on a quarterly basis going forward, and we do know that the specific ones that we're dealing with today do not reflect the period of the lockdown. Are you worried that the numbers may be higher when the next stats are released, based on the previous reports that it looks like gender-based violence had actually gone up during the lockdown period?
Yes, we are absolutely concerned. At the beginning of the lockdown, Minister Cele said there were thousands of gender-based violence calls that were recorded. And then he brings forward, I know these are up to 2020, so we can anticipate that if we have 1,000 increase in a period of, it was 21 days at the beginning of the lockdown stage, where there were an increase in numbers. However, now, when I say that at our clinic, in particular at the Boksburg clinic, we have seen more than 380 cases of children that have been affected by violence, by any form of abuse during the lockdown. That is from when we opened on the 4th of May to current. It's more than 380 at one facility servicing the East Rand community. So we are concerned that we are going to see a massive increase that is going to reflect just the fraying of the fragment of the fabric of our society, and we are not going to be able to address that as a nation. If we're having 380 cases in education facilities, where are those children during the lockdown, where there were no children going to school? Who's reporting the abuse of children who would have been reported otherwise had they been in an education facility? Then we have, where are those children that can be seen by community members who would have noted or would have raised alarm when a child is not all right? What kind of numbers are we going to see? If we see a spike of 20,000, is the minister and his department and other departments, are they ready to address that? Are they ready to sit with communities and ask what is going on and facilitate a program to address that? Are we equipped as a nation to address that, or are we just going to propose another forum for discussion?
All right, Ngaa, time constraints, so that's where we leave it for today. Thank you so much for coming through. Ngaa Murombedzi is Advocacy Manager at Women and Men Against Child Abuse, giving their reaction to the crime statistics that were released earlier today by the Police Minister Bheki Cele, specifically focusing on the announcement by the Minister that about 380 rape cases were reported at education institutions in South Africa.